You are now listening to episode 3 of the homeschooling series Why We Homeschool Part 3. In the previous episode, we talked about the second, third, and fourth reasons why we homeschool our kids, which are the health and safety, positive socialization, and healthy family relationships. If you haven't heard, read, or watched the first two episodes, I highly suggest that you check it out so you can catch up with us. So in this episode, we will talk about flexibility and, as promised, the bonus reason. Stay tuned! Hello there, my friend. My name is Jane Ariem, and welcome to But By Every Word podcast, where I will be sharing things about homeschooling, motherhood, and Christian lifestyle. I am a mom of little sweet and gorgeous children, a wife to my loving husband, and a sinner who is saved by faith alone through Christ alone. I am so grateful that you will be spending time with me right now, and I can't wait to talk to you about this episode. Let's get ready. Okay, so the last or fifth reason is flexibility. So let us talk about flexibility. This is something that is very important for me. I work at home and try to earn some income while, of course, taking care of the kids. Yes, I do get the quiet time whenever they are out at school, but the amount of time spent when you get the kids ready for school, bring them to school, go back to school to pick them up, and on the way home, plus homework and stuff, it is more than the time we spend every day when homeschooling. I will be honest, I am lazy. But aren't we all, right? And having a toddler and a newborn was a challenge and made me so exhausted. Guys, I have asthma and allergies, and I find it so difficult to keep up with the schedule. Homeschooling, on the other hand, gave us a flexibility that we needed. We do not get behind the schedule, or the kids will not miss any classes whenever someone gets sick, or if we will go on a vacation. We do not have to excuse the kids from school because we can bring our school anywhere, or we can do it ahead of time, so we don't have to worry about it. Another thing is, homeschooling gives you the ability to work on your child's space. Again, homeschooling gives you the ability to work on your child's pace, and they will never get behind. When you teach your child at home, you will get to see what works and not work for your child, and be able to focus on a specific struggle, thus giving the child the one-on-one attention that they might not get in a classroom of 20 kids or more with only one or two teachers, right? So during the time where my child is in the public school, I learned that my daughter was just guessing and trying to memorize the words and the sentences in the book. In fact, she does not even recognize all or any of the other words alone. I mean, she does not even look at the book and just at the pictures or illustrations. It's very sneaky. So I tried to teach her after school, but my daughter is extremely exhausted by the time we get home, and I also find it so hard to break the learning style that she is learning at the public school. So long story short, when we started homeschooling, she immediately learned some basic words and she started remembering the alphabets without singing, and remembered and know all the phonic sounds, thus leading to her actually reading and not just memorizing. So there will also be flexibility in terms of what homeschooling style you will choose. You don't have to do everything that the public school do, neither use the same curriculum as they do. You can choose whether you want to do whether you want to do classical style, traditional, or Charlotte Mason if you have multiple kids, even eclectic, which is what we do for the meantime. Um, just going back to what I just said, of course, it depends to what states or province you are at or in. Um, at least here in Ontario, we can do whatever we want. We are not required to follow any curriculum. But yeah, moving on, there will be more choices of homeschooling styles and curriculums that we will talk about in the future. But yes, we do eclectic style, and because we have the flexibility, we can experiment and see what works best for us. We can see and make changes, even last minute changes when things do not work. What schedule or routine works for us? How long in a school year are we going to homeschool? How many hours a day? How many courses or subjects? And so on. And all this we will talk about in the future, of course, and I will explain each of them to you. But for now, in flexibility, kids get to be kids. I am aware that they do get to play at school, but I am also aware as well as how little time they only get to play. But wait, you mean they just play at home? I mean, how about studies? I mean, believe it or not, my kids get enough study time and even more than they need at times. So contrary to the public school or private school, our kindergarten student, kindergarten student, what's wrong with my tongue? Okay, so my JK student only needs at least 15 minutes of focused learning, textbooks, reading, etc. Of course, that doesn't include a read aloud, um, or a maximum of 30 minutes per day. In a school system, on the other hand, the only reason why it takes so much time is because teachers per classroom handles more than 10 kids, and they must keep track of attendance. Moving from classroom to classroom or giving attention to each student they have and possibly more, and sometimes they can't even give attention to one or two or I don't know how many students. And on the other hand, if a child is homeschooled, the only student a teacher, which is the parent in my case, me, the only students I will teach are my children, and I know them very well. They have the freedom to move, ask as many questions as possible as they want, although sometimes it's annoying, of course, the constant interruption. But because they might ask too many questions, and sometimes in my case, I must tell my kids, when their questions never end, it's like, save your questions for later. Okay, kids, and let mommy finish first, okay? And yeah, so moving on, they can keep on going back to the washroom without feeling shy or embarrassed. I remember my now 8 years old daughter. She keeps peeing her pants while she's in the public school. I was wondering why, because she pees before going to school. She's potty trained for years before she went to school, but then her teacher will complain about it. So she told me whenever she asked her teacher if she can go to the washroom to pee, the teacher would say no. So that explains it. She keeps holding it until she cannot anymore. And when homeschooling, they can keep getting snacks and at the end of their studies or sometimes while studying because we all know that we've been through that, studying, reading books, all this information going to your head makes you hungry, you know. So they can keep on getting snacks as much as they want. They get to have their free time and play whatever they want to, or go outside and play if the weather is great, of course. So yeah, there you go. My top 5 reasons why we homeschool. Um, the last is flexibility. And oh yeah, wait. I remember I told you where is the bonus? There's a bonus, right? Where is it? So yes, that is the bonus reason is spiritual growth. So again, the bonus reason is spiritual growth. And that is for the parents. At first, I thought it's just the kids learning what I already know. But no, I also learned a lot of things, not just on educational basis, but I also grew a lot spiritually. For example, reading them the Bible every day in the beginning of our homeschooling, I learned a lot of different words, names, places, stories, meanings in the Bible, things that I thought I already know. So every time I read to the kids, it's also like mommy's Bible study time, of course. Besides you reading your Bible on your own time, right? But at the same time, when you read to the kids the Bible, it's also like you're studying again. And homeschooling also helped strengthen my husband and I's marriage in so many ways. Homeschooling helped our faith. We learned to stand strong and still and just trust God. Just trust God. Just believe God. Just know and be confident that He will be there for us, that we can do this, that He will provide. In homeschooling, I also learned to depend more on God and not on my own strength because we I know we're all guilty about this. 'Cause, there are a lot of times that we will forget that we can't do things without God, and we'll just keep on doing and pushing ourselves with our own strength without depending on God. And that's one of the things that I learned, to depend on God, not on my own strength, because it's really hard to just do it on your own. And there's more to say, but yes, that is why it's also a good reason to homeschool. You get to have your spiritual growth as well. And before I say goodbye, please do check out my Etsy shop, but by every word. Or yeah, so I do have vintage decors and handmade crafts, and for digitals and printables also, but by every word.ca, and just click shop on the main menu. Thank you so much if you will, and doing so will help my small online business and my growing family, of course. But if not, still, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. In the next episode, we will talk about pros and cons of homeschooling. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end. You are such a great listener, and I hope this episode helped you in a way or another. You have no idea how much I appreciate your time, and I hope to have you again in my next episode. If you have any questions or topic suggestion, just let me know and feel free to leave a message. Just go to my website at www.butbyeveryword.ca and click Let Us Connect on the main menu. If you are watching or listening to this podcast on YouTube, you are welcome to leave your comment below, and I would really appreciate it if you would also subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. You might also like to subscribe to my website for blog updates and freebies, or connect with me on Instagram at butbyeveryword. Once again, thank you so much. I am Jane Ariem, and I cannot wait to be with you on the next episode. May all the praise and glory be to God.